And pleasant good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Walnut Ridge High School here in East Columbus. We are here for week 5 of our football Facebook Live. I'm Dave Purpura along with Jarrod, Ulrey, and our guest to begin the show today is Scott's coach Byron Mattox. First off, thank you for coming over and joining us here.
Thanks for having me.
Okay. Got a big game tomorrow night.
Yeah,
you guys are 4-0, and you got Eastmore Academy coming in. I can tell you're pretty excited about it. What are some?
Yeah, I mean it's a neighborhood rivalry. It's always, typically comes down to a possession. We're real excited. Guys are excited. The school's excited, to get this game going.
Why do you think you guys have gotten off such a great start here? 4-0.
I think it starts with our defense. I mean, they're flying around and making plays and giving the offense great field position, and we're able to capitalize on that. I mean, there's been a couple of tough opponents, but I mean, offensively and everything kind of worked out, and we've been able to get it done.
226-20, Walnut Ridge has outscored its first 4 opponents, and the closest game was 41-6. That gives you a hint on how well things are going. A lot of familiar names here from last year. I covered your game against Canal Winchester in the first round last year, and I looked through the preview, and you have some of those important players back again. How much has that continuity helped as you get off to a hot start here?
It helps a lot. I mean, we've replaced a lot on defense, but offensively in our skill positions, Isaiah Murphy, Julius Wood, Keon Magwood, Kalen Anderson, those guys have been around, played a lot of football, so they have good chemistry, and it's shown on the field.
Last year you guys got back to the playoffs for the first time since 2009. What did that mean for you guys as a program and just kind of getting that breakthrough?
It was huge for our program. It gave us a lot of momentum into the off season that we've been able to build on, and and the kids. The kids have they enjoy competing and winning, and they know what it takes, and they want to go a little bit further this year.
There are a fair amount of gnats flying around here with the rain that just came through.
Yes.
Yeah. Your thoughts on Eastmore? I mean, you mentioned right off the top, it is a neighborhood rivalry. I mean, 2 of probably the 3 top teams in this division, with the other one on the other end of your neighborhood over at Independence. What are some of your thoughts just on Eastmore Academy from what you've seen so far?
What I've seen from them, I mean, they're very explosive. Savon Edwards and Coleman, they can take anything the distance, and they've been doing that all season. Defensively, I think they're improved. They're flying around and doing a lot of stuff. So, I mean, it's something that we want to definitely be ready for.
Your defense has been a pretty big play defense, right?
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Steve Ayers, my defense coordinator, I mean, he's just done a fantastic job getting these guys in the right places and letting their athleticism come out. I mean, Julius Wood, returning top player, Keon Magwood. We got a couple new guys, Marshawn Makins. I mean, they are flying around and making plays, rotating a lot of guys on the defensive line, keeping those guys fresh, and it's paying off.
All right, Coach. Well, hey, we appreciate your time.
Thanks
Good
for
luck
having me.
tomorrow night. You got it, Coach.
All right, appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Coach Byron Mattox is Walnut Ridge Scots are looking to go to 5-0. Probably goes without saying when it's 4-0 against 3-1 that there are a lot of playoff points potentially on the line. Walnut Ridge in Region 7, Eastmore Academy is in D3, Region 11.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that the loser is probably can still be okay in this situation, because there are some teams in the city south that have good records. I mean, Marion Franklin's 3-1, South is 3-1, and some of these, there are some teams that are kind of struggling at the bottom of this league. But there's the fact that they all kind of play each other. I mean, that helps you get the points eventually, one way or the other. So
yeah, and when I said the 3 tops, I should have said 3 of the top teams with Independence, Walnut Ridge, and Eastmore Academy. No offense to Marion Franklin, who I think we all expect to have it, among some other teams.
Right. As far as Walnut Ridge is concerned, they've got this quarterback, Isaiah Murphy. He's a very talented, all-around type of player for them. But they've also got, I think you mentioned a couple of the guys, but like Sincere Staples and Javaris Leach are both really good running backs for them that they could go to. And Kalen Anderson, Julius Wood, Keon Magwood. Keon Magwood is a junior. You're going to see him on a lot of recruiting lists next year as one of the best prospects in 2020. And of course, Julius Wood also has, I believe he's got something like 15 to 20 offers. He's got a lot of offers from MAC schools and schools like that. And Isaiah Murphy's he's gotten some looks too. I mean, getting a quarterback offer, even if you get one, I mean, that's really pretty amazing.
Yes.
There's just so few jobs. And I think he's got, I believe it's like a Division I AA offer. And I can't recall which school it is right now, but anyway, yeah, it's and he mentioned Savon Edwards of Eastmore.
Yes, he did.
He's an excellent player. Made our Super 25 last year. and Eastmore is a very well coached team. I mean, these are two of the best coached teams in the area, really.
Yeah, Jim Miranda has been there quite a while.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's one thing in common. I mean, Marion Franklin, Brian Halfley, the program he leads, Maurice Douglas over at Independence. I mean, that's one thing that these programs all seem to have in common.
These four in the city south, yes, there's a lot of stability with those four particular programs, and that's why, every year you can see some kind of variation of the four of them making the playoffs just about every year.
Well, week 8, I know we've always talked about that as a huge week, but week 4, not all of a sudden, but this has really been building to be
just
week
a stupendous week. Week 5 we got this week.
Yes, it is week 5 because these teams are 4-0 that we're about to talk about this week. The first one, Pickerington Central and Hilliard-Davidson, the defending state champions, against another perennially successful team. Just the way that this ended up, UA used to be one of Pick Central's crossover games. Now it's Davidson. I can't remember who Central replaces on Davidson's schedule.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is, this is going to be a very, very interesting game, and just more of the gauntlet for both teams tomorrow.
Well, and this is a different kind of challenge for Pickerington Central because you look at their schedule and you think, wow, they're blowing all these teams away. But the teams they're playing are pretty good. I mean, Trotwood Madison's going to win a lot of games this year. They beat them by 4 touchdowns or something like that. And then that team from Chicago, I think that they're going to win a lot of games this year too. So this is a different type of a matchup for them because this is for Central Ohio. This is the first big step of who's the best team around here. And obviously they're going against one of the best coaches in the area, Brian White, who's going to have that team ready.
Yes, yeah, and this could be a Region 3 final preview as well. I mean, I don't think anybody'd be surprised. These two are in the same region, unlike a few teams we're going to talk about in a minute, but...
Really interesting, yeah, I mean, with Pickerington North, Hilliard-Davidson, Pickerington Central all being in that Region 3. Man, that's pretty good at the top. I mean, I don't know if they'll end up being 1, 2, 3, but
I wouldn't
they're all
doubt
going to
it,
be
honestly.
in there.
Pickerington Central scoring 45 a game, allowing less than 11. Davidson is scoring 21 a game and allowing 7.8, and that's a figure that was helped immensely by the fact that they had 2 shutouts to start the year.
Right.
And I think that, basically 2.5 games of shutouts to start the year because Hilliard Bradley scored in the second half, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, I mean, there's just which style is going to will out tomorrow night.
Statistically, Pickerington Central looks kind of like they always do. You look at their offensive stats, and you're like, well, hey, where's the guy that has 500 or 600 yards at this point? There isn't one because what they do is they did, yes, Jameer Jackson is kind of the number 1 running back for them, but they love to move the ball around. They give the ball to lots of different players. Demetri Crenshaw can burn you with his arm and his legs. And I believe he's got 6 touchdown passes, 5 rushing touchdowns, if that says anything. He's
pretty even.
I don't know if you could say he's underrated, but I mean, you don't necessarily think superstar quarterback with him, but you probably should.
Yeah.
You really should.
Yep. And Davidson, don't be surprised if they throw the ball a little bit. They sure helped them in that win over Liberty last week. Other side of Pickerington is where the other biggest game of the week is going to be. 4-0. Dublin Kaufman at Pickerington North tomorrow. Frank Dorena, by the way, will be at Central and Davidson. Scott Hennon will be at this game that we're talking about now. This, I believe it was your preview. They've scrimmaged each other a ton, but they've never met with anything really on the line before until tomorrow night.
Right, and and Coach Crabtree has been at Kaufman the entire time that they've played Pickerington North in all those scrimmages too. If you think about it.
Well, that's right. Yeah, North opened in 03, and he's been there.
I mean, yes, Hiller Rich is only in his second year of the program, but one thing that strikes me about this matchup is there's going to be a lot of. This will probably be a matchup that catches the eye of people who are interested in recruiting. If you think about Mike Drennan of Dublin Kaufman, has tons and tons of offers, and people want to know, is Mike Lowry, is he a Division I caliber quarterback? I mean, I think by the numbers, by all accounts, he is. I mean, he's on pace to get something like 40 touchdown passes. He's got 14 touchdowns and 1 interception so far.
Yeah, there's almost 1,100 yards.
And it's not like they're playing nobody. They're playing some good teams.
They've had a very good
really
schedule.
have. So, what can Kaufman do to slow Pickerington North's offense down? Maybe by ball control, kind of a combination of ball control, special teams, and defense. What can they do? Because I think it's going to take some kind of an entire effort by Kaufman to slow down this really high-powered offense.
You mentioned Mike Drennan a minute ago. He converted a huge 4th and 9 play, I believe, against Olentangy last week when they scored 22 in a row to win that game 22-16 to go to 4-0. Another 4-0 team is the Delaware Pacers. Probably, it's a pretty good start under Scott Wetzel, and they head down to Dublin tomorrow night, 3-1 Scioto awaiting.
That's a place we considered having Facebook Live this week.
That's right.
But I believe they're doing the Little Brown Jug today.
That runs in about 2 hours, yeah.
So it's very busy down there, and it's got to be an exciting time to be kind of in that community right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Delaware, I don't know that when the last time was they got off to this good start. I mean, it may have been decades.
This century was in the preview. Now, exactly what year that would indicate, I don't know, but it said 4-0 this century for the first time. So that's 20 years.
And they made the playoffs in 2008, and I believe they may have started that season 4-1 or something like that. But this will be their biggest test by far. Dublin Scioto. We all kind of, as we've said the last few weeks, we thought Scioto had the potential to be a really good team. They got tripped up by New Albany, but they beat Jerome.
Well, they've bounced back really nicely since then. They beat Big Walnut and beat Dublin Jerome. They've been able to run the ball with some success, and with different backs doing that. I picked Scioto in this game tomorrow night. Nothing against Delaware. Scioto shows up in big games like this. And again, not to say Delaware doesn't, but I kind of like their track record. The fact that it's at home, like you said, this is going to be probably the toughest test that Delaware has faced.
A couple of veteran coaches here. Carl Johnson's been around Scioto for, I believe, almost 2 decades.
Yeah.
And then Coach Wetzel, when he was at Big Walnut, he won 100 games there, went to Westerville North, and he was only there for a couple of years, but I mean, he had some success when he was at Buckeye Valley. I mean, this guy's been around for a long time, and we probably shouldn't be shocked that Delaware is starting to turn this thing around.
Delaware has outscored its opponents 109-37 in its first 4 games. And I think you're heading out of town tomorrow night, going southwest to Clinton County. It was Hartley and Clinton Massey tomorrow.
That's right.
A little bit about that matchup heading out of town for.
Well, in terms of our beat coverage, I'm in charge of Pickerington, North Pickerington Central, and Hartley. So it was kind of real tough this week. What's going to be a great fit for me? And I thought Hartley at Clinton Massey is just as exciting as any of these games.
Yeah.
Clinton Massey has they're kind of a run first type of team, just like Hartley. I mean, this is the type of game that could be over in about an hour and a half.
Beware saying that when you say it.
Of course, there's going to be lightning delays.
Yeah.
Because the weather's supposed to be pretty rough tomorrow night. But they've got a guy named Brendan Lamb who's rushed for 376 yards and 6 touchdowns. But this is a couple of maybe old school styles, because these guys both love to run the ball. And I think it's going to be a battle in the trenches who can get, who can get their guys out more than the other one. And it should be exciting.
Hartley's what, 3-1?
Both of them are 3-1.
Both of them are 3-1.
Clinton Massey was in the state championship game in Division IV last year. Hartley, of course, won back-to-back state championships, and then last year moved up to Division III and made it to the regional championship. So this is going to have eyes around the whole state, I think.
Hilliard Bradley and Thomas Worthington getting back in here to Central Ohio. This is week 2 of OCC Cardinal play. Bradley's at 3-1. Thomas is at 2-2. Both of them won their league openers last week. Thomas with a dramatic win over Kilbourne, and they're see if they can pull out some of those close games that they didn't pull out. One thing that stood out to me when I was reading the preview, Bradley has given the ball away or turned it over, probably a better way to say it, 13 times.
Okay.
They have 0 takeaways on the year, yet are still 3-1.
Wow. Yeah, that is really something. And Thomas Worthington has a very talented quarterback, and it's Charlie Rhodes. So what kind of an impact is that going to have? And will Thomas Worthington be able to get him some plays that are going to create some touchdowns for him against a really good Bradley team? And yeah, there's a lot of interesting factors in this.
Yep, and Sharon Phipps, I hope I'm pronouncing his name right, last week, a huge week against Kilbourne. He had 4 interceptions, including a 104-yard touchdown.
Yeah.
And he had 4 catches for 63 yards as the bugs inch through the screen here. And then 2 touchdowns, including the game winner late. There is a game tonight, the Frank Dorena Bowl, one of the Frank Dorena Bowls. Columbus Academy is at Whitehall, not very far from here, Mid-State League Ohio Division, if I get that correct. Any thoughts on that one being under the lights on local television tonight?
Well, I think we thought these would be 2 of the best teams in MSL Ohio, and they're looking like it. They're both 3-1. Both have lots of experienced players back too. when you look at Dorian Moultrie and for Academy and Raymel Bird, the quarterback, very talented quarterback for Whitehall. I got a chance to see him in week 2, and he can burn you through the air and with his feet. Yeah, just a lot of this ought to be a very closely played matchup.
I would think so. I mean, Whitehall's a team that made the playoffs last year. I think they've made the playoffs a couple of years now,
right?
And they very well should have won that game in the first round over New Albany. And Academy is going to give them a stiff test this evening. Here's one. Mostly we talk about intriguing games on here. This one really. Westerville Central's 3-1, coming off a really tough loss to Pickerington North. Gahanna's 2-2, coming off that overtime win that you saw last week over New Albany. Your thoughts on this? This is an important game for both of these teams.
What's going to happen? I'm not sure I really have any idea. I mean, Westerville Central, through 3 games, I mean, we're thinking, they're a really surprisingly very good team this year. And then, yes, they had a problem when they got blown out last week. Gahanna kind of saved its season, possibly, because they were losing by 20. I think they were losing by 3 touchdowns there in the second half. Looked like, hey, maybe this is it. Maybe they're dead in the water. And they found a way to kind of dig deep, turn this thing around, and then pull out that win in overtime last week. So I think it's a very important game points-wise, because you got to figure Gahanna's going to have some weeks that it's going to be very tough for them to win.
Yeah, just in their league.
Just in their league is so tough this year, and then Westerville Central is in kind of a league that looks like it's full of parity. Mm-hmm. With Liberty and Olentangy both only having 1 win apiece.
Orange.
But both are, I think Orange might be 2-2.
Yeah, that's right, they're 2.
And those were all 3 playoff teams last year, and we all think that they're probably going to have some solid moments second half. So,
all right, a few other games we want to at least tell you, big ones before we get out of here. Covington Catholic, aka Cov Cath, is at DeSales. Reynoldsburg trying to go to 5-0. And they take on Westerville South. Now, I don't know the last time Reynoldsburg was 5-0. I mean, clearly it's been quite a long time.
I think I got a text from Buddy White saying maybe like since 1963 or something. It's been a long time. They had an undefeated season in 1963, if I remember correctly, but nothing since then. So, wouldn't that be something?
My dad was a freshman in this building in 1963. I mean, we knew 1995 was the last time they were 3-0, and they've certainly continued to build on that since then. New Albany and Olentangy, you mentioned Olentangy a minute ago, they're 1-3. New Albany's 2-2. They're in different regions, both in Division II. Olentangy, I think both these teams probably feel like they're better than their record.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm sure this probably would have been a game that you would have gone to, but instead you'll be eating cake tomorrow.
I will be at a wedding up in Northeast Ohio tomorrow, but yes, I can tell you that 100% certainly I probably would be at that game. Mifflin is at Northland. Washington Courthouse and St. Charles, I saw you put that down. I mean, St. Charles was 2-2.
Yeah.
I believe here under their first year coach, Steve Coker.
And if you, I believe last year that was the game that they actually, I think that was the game that they lost 29-28.
I think that's correct.
So,
yeah, down there.
What's going to happen in that? I mean, St. Charles off to a 2-2 start. I think that's pretty good for them with what they've been through the last few years.
Exactly, and probably getting some new infusion, new culture
Absolutely.
There at St. Charles. We are going to go ahead and get on out of here. Obviously, Academy Whitehall coverage tonight on the website, and plenty of coverage tomorrow night as well. We will be back next Thursday at 3:30. We'll let you know when and where I should say, over the next couple days on social media. For Jarrod, Ulrey, I'm Dave Purpura. So long, everybody.